Yo, Joes! How are we all doing? Okay, so I absolutely have to talk about this news because it's kinda big. Considering how many childhoods were spent watching G.I Joe, when they suddenly announce new installments, you gotta wonder how it's going to be, while also praying that they don't mess it up. You see, as of early 2026, Paramount Pictures is officially developing not one, but two new G.I Joe films. Yes, guys, two. And let me remind you that this news comes after the franchise's three previous live-action movies: G.I Joe: The Rise of Cobra 2009, G.I Joe Retaliation 2013, and the Snake Eyes spin-off in 2021. Now that last one is interesting because even though Snake Eyes is one of the most beloved characters in the franchise, the film definitely didn't do too well at the box office and just wasn't the reboot that Paramount was hoping for. And after many years of silence, we finally have updates. There have been rumors of a crossover with the Transformers. Can you imagine that? Especially after Transformers: Rise of the Beasts legit teased a connection to the G.I Joe universe in its final scene, as Anthony Ramos' character comes face to face with a recruiter from that very organization. So yeah, you'd best believe that had fans just drooling. I know I'm losing my mind, but let's not forget that both projects are in very early stages right now. There are no confirmed titles, no confirmed cast, director, and no release dates, but it's real. And we're here to give you all the details that we know of as of now because come on guys, I literally can't contain my hype and excitement. So let's get started. What exactly is the new update? In February 2026, we all woke up to one hell of a surprise. There are two different G.I Joe movies in early works at Paramount. What news, right? Turns out there's more to the story, pun intended. Paramount has actually hired two writers to develop two separate G.I Joe scripts. First up, we've got Max Landis, who's best known for writing Chronicle, and he does have a pretty distinct style and vision. But I have to mention that my excitement has dulled down considering that his career has basically been over since the #MeToo movement, after he was accused by 8 women of emotional and sexual abuse. But David Ellison doesn't seem to be too bothered by any of this. Good news is they've also brought in Danny McBride as the second writer. You know, the guy from Eastbound and Down? Plus, he's worked on a bunch of legacy projects, including Halloween and The Exorcist Believer, so he clearly understands how reboots work. Right now, both writers are developing separate scripts, but who knows what'll happen next. They might move forward with any one, or maybe even merge elements of the two and create something entirely different. But they're clearly trying something new. Well, they want to get it right, so of course they're exploring their options as much as possible. But the real question is, will these scripts revive Yo Joe for a new generation? Why did it take so long for G.I Joe to return? Now this is the big question, right? Because honestly, it's been just too long since the last proper G.I Joe film. G.I Joe Retaliation came out back in 2013, but since then, Paramount has actually tried stuff out. Long ago, back in 2013, there was a project called G.I Joe Ever Vigilant, which was supposed to focus on Chuckles going undercover within Cobra. The film sounded pretty exciting if you ask me. It was gonna be kind of a spy thriller take of sorts, almost like Mission Impossible but with a G.I Joe twist. But of course, things didn't work out, even though fans still talk about it online like all the time. There were also plans for an entire Hasbro cinematic universe at one point. Yeah, apparently Paramount and Hasbro were talking about a future where G.I Joe, Transformers, Micronauts, and others could all exist in the same world. In fact, the Transformers were supposed to be introduced at the end of G.I Joe 3, but Paramount decided against this. And after that, nothing concrete really happened there. Until now, that is, but we'll get to that in a bit. Then of course we got the Snake Eyes spin-off in 2021. The film tells the origin story of Snake Eyes, and I actually really liked the film with all of its ninja lore and clan politics. But the movie didn't perform the way Paramount expected, which naturally crushed any more sequel plans. So from 2013 to 2021, and then again till now, all we've heard are updates that have gone nowhere. But is 2026 the year of the Joe guys? Rumored cast and fan casting. Okay, now let's dive into speculation territory. There's no confirmed cast, but of course theories will pop up. Maybe Dwayne Johnson comes back as Roadblock. Some believe Jenna Ortega will be cast as Baroness. Heck, some people think Tom Holland will appear as Snake Eyes. Come on guys, let's not get too crazy yet. If anyone were to return as Snake Eyes, it would hopefully be Henry Golding. You know, after the 2021 movie, and hey, maybe this film will be some sort of continuation. Now a big question fans always ask is what happened to Channing Tatum? And maybe some of you don't know this, but Tatum actually himself asked, or rather demanded, that he be written off the film. He basically asked to be killed off, and that's why Duke was then replaced by Dwayne Johnson's character. Apparently, he really hated the first film. Honestly, he's done a whole bunch of crappy films, man. One more G.I Joe wouldn't hurt. Now, as for Roadblock, we hope he returns, but with The Rock's packed schedule, who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. Production timeline and development details. Now let's get down to the timeline. These films are in early development. I know I'm repeating myself, but that's important to remember, guys. With the number of announcements that have come and gone and projects that have slid from active development to oblivion, I really wouldn't get my hopes too high. Right now, they're just figuring out scripts with Landis and McBride. There's a whole lot of journey still left. Once the script is finalized, then you gotta find someone to bring that vision to life. Who's gonna direct? Then what the cast will look like? There are many questions yet to be answered. Plus, with the actor and industry strikes in recent times, delays are inevitable. If I had to take an estimated guess, I'd say somewhere around late 2027 or even 2028. It's still far off, but let's just hope it's coming. Possible storylines for the reboot. If you ask me, this film's going back to its ensemble roots with Duke, Scarlet, Roadblock, and Snake Eyes, and I actually really like that idea. I'd love to get into the whole lore, maybe see some new backstory, and see all these new actors take on the familiar roles. You know, because the G.I Joe universe actually has a lot of potential when it comes to storytelling. You've got Cobra Commander, Baroness, even Storm Shadow, whom we still need to know more about, the Ninja Clans, the secret global operations that have literally threatened the US government. There's a lot out there that they could explore. Maybe with everything going on in the world right now, we could have some nukes and secret codes thrown in the mix. Or the film focuses on the early days of the team. In fact, one possible storyline that actually features a lot in the comics is the origin story of G.I Joe itself. How Duke discovers the Cobra's underhanded dealings and assembles a special task force to combat them. He even discovers Mars Industries, which is the weapons manufacturing company run by Destro. But this would mean a whole new Duke, guys. So tell us about your fan casting of a new Duke in the comments below. Another possibility is that the story dives deeper into the rivalry between Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. I would totally be up for that. The whole arc of them being brothers in the Arashikage Ninja Clan, their story is one of my favorites. It's like drenched in betrayal and misunderstandings and that typical sibling energy. But they want to kill each other. But they also want to help each other at times. But there's one more possibility. With comics taking the G.I Joe storyline and pushing it into sci-fi territory, we could just finally get a Transformers crossover? Alright guys, how many of you have read the Energon Universe comics? You see, there, the storyline is that Cobra Commander is experimenting with alien technology at Cobra La. And that alien technology is none other than a Decepticon. And that too, Megatron. So he's got his hands on Cybertronian technology, and there's a whole lot of chaos that follows. Do you know what this might mean? Now that Transformers has already teased a possible crossover, this could basically pave the way. We could see some adaptation or even inspiration drawn from what's happening in the Energon universe right now, as we speak. Hell, even producer De Bonaventura declared that the project was inevitable. Imagine Cobra teaming up with Decepticons, right? Crazy. Of course, I'll always tell you not to keep your hopes too high, since we've heard this update and rumors time and again, and they haven't panned out. So who knows? But if something does end up happening, count me in the theaters. So guys, even with no story or dates or names, I still feel excited. I think we all do. We'll basically be reliving our childhood memories once again and on the big screen. As long as Paramount can somewhat capture that same feeling, I'll be a happy customer, man. And you guys don't have to worry at all. We'll bring you all the updates when we hear even the slightest rumor. We've got you. So stay tuned, smash the like button, and subscribe to the channel for fresh hot updates, and we'll see you next time. Until then, go have a G.I Joe marathon. I know I will.